Hey everyone, welcome back to Programmer Polyglot, the show where we break down the world of tech, one language, one platform and one solution at a time. I am your host Kalyana Sundaram K, and today in episode 2 of season 2 we are diving into something super, which is automation in Azure. Whether you are a manager, VM deploying infrastructure or setting up CI/CD pipelines, Azure offers a ton of tools to automate your cloud tasks. And yes, we will also dive deeper. After all, what's an automation podcast without a title bit off? So grab your coffee and let's get started. Let's start with the segment 1. Why automate in Azure? Alright, first off, why would you even choose Azure as your prime one? Well, the short answer is it saves you time, reduce human error, and make you process consistent across the board. Imagine this: instead of manually shutting down virtual machines or deploying infrastructure for each project, you can set it up once and let Azure do the rest by automating things. So let's go through the few key automation tools Azure provides and discuss some real world problems and scenarios which you do want to use them. Azure Automation with Runbooks. Let's start with the Azure Automation and its powerful feature, Runbooks. Runbooks are basically scripts that you can schedule or trigger to perform routine tasks. Now the great thing is these can be written in PowerShell or Python. Let's talk about an example. Let's say you want to automate shutting down a virtual machine every night to save cost. Cloud cost. You don't want to do this manually every evening, right? So here's how you can do it with a simple PowerShell runbook. You would create an automation account in Azure and then add a new runbook with this shell script. So you need to add the parameters with two things: string, which is resource group name, and another string which is VM name. Authenticate the Azure and stop the VM now. Once you've done with this, tested it, you can schedule it to run every night, and voila, your VM shuts down automatically, saving your both money and time. So the next thing is Azure Logic Apps for workflow automation. This is perfect if you are more drag and drop kind of person, and if you don't want to dive deep into code and stay with the no code apps. So Logic Apps let you automate workflows and integrate different services in a low code environment. Let's say you want to send an email every time someone uploads a file to a blob storage container. Instead of writing full application for with the Logic Apps can handle this few clicks. Here is how you want to do. First, create a Logic app, then add a trigger for it when a blob is added or modified as an event. Finally, add an action to send an email notification with the blob details. Now everywhere and every time a file will be uploaded, an email will be automatically sent to you, lifting a finger. Azure Functions for event-driven automation. Alright, now let's get into something for all coders. Azure Function is a serverless compute service that lets you run small pieces of code called functions in response to events. Like, let's say you are going to click a button and you want to do an event. Think of it way to trigger a code when something happens, like a file upload when a button is clicked, or a queue, or even a HTTP request. Imagine you need to resize the image automatically whenever it is uploaded to the blob storage. Here is a quick rundown how to do it. Let's say you are going to write a function for it. So this is a C# code which is using Microsoft.azure.webblobs and using Microsoft.extension.logging and using system.io. And here comes the log information, and the either will be taken over by Azure Web Jobs. Infrastructure as a code, IAC with ARM templates and Terraform. Now let's talk about infrastructure as a code, or IAC in short form. Whether you are developing VMs, networks or database, IAC tools like ARM templates and Terraform can automate infrastructure deployments at scale. For example, let's say you want to deploy a virtual network in Azure. Instead of clicking through a portal every time, you can create an ARM template like this. First a schema, followed by this link and resources, type, name, location, and properties, followed by address space and address prefixes with an IP similar to this 10.10.0.0/16, and followed by a couple of open phrases. Yes, you can deploy this template with a single command, or even better, use a pipeline. But the principle is same for everything. Let's start with the last segment, which is CI/CD with Azure DevOps pipelines, continuous integration and continuous deployment. For short, Azure DevOps let you set up automated pipelines to build, test, and deploy your code. Here is a simple OAML pipeline that builds a .NET project and deploys it into an Azure web app, followed by the YAML file, which is trigger, main, pool, VM, image, Ubuntu latest, which is the OS, and steps, task, use .NET 2, and inputs, which is package type, which will be SDK, and version 6.x. Script, .NET build, and display name will be your build project, and script name .NET publish, and publish project, which will be the display name, and task Azure web app at 1, which will be the version after the at symbol, and inputs Azure subscription, which is your subscription, for example Azure for students, Azure professional ID, etc. And app name, your app name, for example we can take like my web and app. Package, which will be build.artifacts staging directory, and followed by the zip file. Every time you push the code to the main branch, this pipeline will automatically build, test, deploy your application. This is a game changer for agile development teams. And we came to our conclusion part, which is going to be a summary for this. Automation in Azure is incredibly powerful, and it covers everything simple tasks like shutting down VMs to complex CI/CD workflows and infrastructure management. Whether you are using runbooks, logic apps, Azure functions, or infrastructure as a code with ARM or Terraform, there is a solution for everyone and everything. Thanks for tuning in today's episode of Programmer Polyglot. Be sure to check out show notes for links to code examples and more resources on automating your Azure environment. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Thank you. Signing off, Kalyana Sundaram K. Thank you.